Hello YouTube, and welcome back. This is Atlanta to Dallas Aviation with unboxing number 30. If you've watched unboxing number 29, I told you that I was going to get a whole bunch of, I was going to get another set of models like that day. I'm not having this video go out on the same day. I'm not even having it go out the next day. I have it set up to go out a couple, maybe 3 days after unboxing number 29 to allow you to digest that one. But I did want to go ahead and film it on the same day as I filmed unboxing number 29. And so without any further ado, we will go ahead and get to this. I've got 4 aircraft in this unboxing, but I'm only keeping 3 of them. I am going to try to sell the other one, which is actually going to provide me an opportunity to do a compare video. So we'll get to that when we get to it. But first of all, we'll go ahead and get started. Our first model for this video is right here. This is the Gemini Jets TWA McDonnell Douglas -82, and as you can see, this is the final livery. We had the twin stripe several videos ago. Well, this is the final livery, which honestly is my favorite livery for TWA. So anyway, so that's basically, it's basically the same box art that Gemini is known for. I'm going to open the flap here. If you care to read that, you can pause and read that real quick. So anyway, this registration for this aircraft is November 960 Tango Whiskey, and right here is the Gemini Jets item number, is Golf Juliet Tango Whiskey Alpha 1711. All right. And we will go ahead and bring the model in. It's pretty nice. It's sitting on this box a little strange, but it's nice and it looks good flat on the ground. Get in kind of tight here for our 360, starting on the port side, and make our way around here. I can recommend this model. As you may have heard from other YouTubers, it's not a perfect mold, and even some of the molds that are considered perfect are not quite perfect. Sorry NG, but it's true. But anyway, and now we're approaching the starboard side here. We're a little bit too close there. There we go. We got the whole airplane in the shot there. A nice screwdriver tail cone there. All right. So that's about as close as I can get. So some additional information. So this aircraft type actually started as November 930 Alpha Sierra, and it was delivered to Alaska Airlines in March of 1985, the year I graduated high school. And then to TWA in August of 1996. And then it changed its registration to the one that this represents on February of 97. But sadly enough, this aircraft is no longer flying and has been scrapped. It was powered by two Pratt & Whitney JT8Ds-217C engines. So fuselage mounted. And then I couldn't find a for sure seating arrangement, but the seating configuration was likely 20 domestic first class, which is equivalent to what some of y'all may know as business class, and approximately 120 coach, depending on the layout. Yeah, so that is our first model. It's very nice, goes nicely with my other ones that are in that livery. The second model we're going to look at today is, boom, the Gemini Jets version of the Delta Airbus A319-100. This one also fence tips. And the registration number for this one, and if you want to read the specs, you can do that. But the registration number for this one is November 371 November Bravo. The one in unboxing 29 was November 301 November Bravo. So now, in a matter of basically one day, I went from having no Delta A319s to having two, which is more than enough to satisfy my collection and my needs if and when I ever get around to doing an airport update. So right now, Delta flies A319s to Dallas Love Field, and I obviously could do a Dallas Love Field now because I have the aircraft that I would need for Alaska Airlines, which serves Dallas Love Field. I now have, so Delta used to fly the 717 in there, and I had one of those, but then they changed it to the A319, which I didn't have, but now I do. And then, of course, a whole slew of Southwest aircraft, which it would be nice to have some extra 737-700s, which it sounds like and looks like NG is going to provide soon. And once I order those, I'll probably have all the normal livery 737-700s I need for Dallas Love Field. And partly because I don't like to collect duplicates unless I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very long time before we get another registration on a certain aircraft. So I have very few duplicates and more than duplicates. But anyway, so I actually have what I need, probably enough to do Dallas Love Field if I wanted to do that. So very happy about that. So let's move on back to this Gemini Jets release. There is the item number. It's Golf Juliet Delta Alpha Lima 209er3. All right. So we can bring this one in. And a lot of the information for this aircraft that I'll give you after we do the 360 is the exact same information as I gave you for the other one that I showed in unboxing 29. All right, focus there, bro. Let's see if I can force it to focus. There we go. I think it did that on my... Yeah, we're not doing that. Let's see if that helps. Okay, that seemed to help a little bit. Alright, hopefully we won't have an in-out focus while I'm doing the 360. Starting on the port side. Of course, the CFM engines on this bird is probably too big, which is a shame, but it is a different registration number and it doesn't bother me a ton. So now I have two Delta A319s in the current livery to choose from. So basically I can have one coming into Dallas Love Field and one leaving Dallas Love Field at the same time, and they're both different reg numbers. So so 2 is actually perfect. And the same thing's going to happen. NG announced a Delta A320, which I think that's already on order. And it actually may be inbound also. I should be getting another set of models in a day or two. And then Gemini Jets just announced a Delta A320 in 1/400 scale for their December releases. So I'll have 2 of those, which will also be more than enough of those. And I've got my 2 A319s now, so that's more than enough, and I will not buy any more of these, especially since they are some of the oldest planes in their fleet. So they should be making an exit here at least in the next few years, probably at least by the turn of the next decade, if not before then. All right, so there we go. Get a little bit closer so you can take a gander at that while I read you off some additional information. So this airframe was delivered to Delta, I guess, in Delta livery in December of 09, where the one I did on the other unboxing was January of 10. But of course, these came through the Northwest merger. So it was actually delivered to Northwest in December of 2003. So it's approximately 20 years old, and it is an active airframe. And the information that is the same for this as the one that I did in unboxing 29. It's powered by 2 CFM 56-4 5 A5 engines, and its seating configuration is 12 domestic first class, aka business class, 18 premium economy, 18 premium economy. I can't remember what they call their premium economy, but it's more leg room but the same width and everything. So 18 of those, and then 102 just regular coach seats. So that's all you need to know about that one. All right, put him back there. Put him back there near the cargo facility. All right, next up. So here's the model that is going to provide me a compare, but I am not keeping, but I will explain why I'm not keeping it in the compare video rather than in this one. But it's safe to say that I was expecting Gemini Jets to nail this perfectly, or at least more perfectly. And after I examined it and compared it to pictures and looked at how it differed from the NG model version of it that I have, I decided that it just wasn't perfect enough to keep that one and sell off the NG one. So with all that said, hopefully I can remember the registration, because I did not write it down. So here is the one I was talking about. This is the Gemini Jets Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 in the AMUA 1 livery. This registration is November 8710 Mike. And the Gemini Jets item number there is Golf Juliet Sierra Whiskey Alpha 2247. And as Gemini Jets always does with Southwest, it's a more simplistic box. It doesn't have the flip open thing, so it doesn't have the specs and stuff on the inside. So a little less information on the box itself. So we'll go ahead and bring this in. I will say it was close. I still prefer slightly the mold that NG has for this over the Gemini Jets, but it's not. If Gemini Jets could potentially put out a version of this where I chose this one over the better mold, let's just say. But we will do a comparison video on this one versus the NG, so I don't waste too much extra time. So here we go. Again, starting on the port side. It's very nicely done, but it's just not as perfect as I was hoping it was going to be. But the wheels roll really nicely. The wings have a nice dihedral. We don't have rocket ship engines that point up to the sky. As far as I can tell, it looks like they did a good job of placing the cockpit windows. It's just not perfect enough for me to trade out NG for this one. And since I'm going to sell it off, the likely place I'm going to sell it off is at work. So they would not be happy with me trying to sell the NG model version that doesn't have a legal contract to produce Southwest models. So that can be problematic. So the fact that it's going to be easier for me to sell this one than the NG also helps. I mean, I'm not completely closed to the idea of having two different versions, two different manufacturer versions of it, but I prefer not to. So most of the compare videos you ever see me do is because I bought some models from some coworkers who actually told me they wanted me to order them models, or I have extras and I take them to work to sell. So I typically do not have comparable models that I keep. All right, so the additional information on this airframe, I already told you the registration. The delivery date to Southwest was August of 2017, so before the grounding. So this airplane, even though this is a much newer livery, this airplane is like one of the first ones, if not the first one, to be delivered to Southwest. And so the airframe from first flight is approximately 6.3 years old, and it is currently active in the livery that you see there on the camera. It is powered by two CFM International LEAP-1B engines, and it's a all-coach configuration for those of you who are familiar with Southwest. So it holds its seating configuration inside holds 175 passengers. So the leg room is pretty nice. You don't have to sit in the exit row necessarily to have a decent amount of leg room. It's pretty generous no matter where you sit. In the bulkhead seat, while there's a lot of knee room, you don't have a seat in front of you to kind of stick your feet under, so that kind of limits it. But there's a lot of room between where your knees stop and the bulkhead starts. So anyway, so that is that one. Again, be on the lookout for a compare video for that, probably near the end of this coming week. And then last and certainly not least, this one's going to be, so this is a wide body. It's a Delta wide body, and it is an Airbus A350-900 for Delta Airlines by Aviation 400. And this one is, so they did the same box for both of these versions. So that's why there's two pictures here. This is the one I ordered. I actually do have this one in this box over here. So So I have both versions of this. And so this one's registration is November 5, excuse me, I'm getting dyslexic here. November 576 Delta Zulu. And the, oops, that is not the correct item number. This is the correct item number. Whiskey Bravo 4027, where the other one's 4026. Anyway, so this is what, this is basically what the Aviation 400 boxes now look like. I have some older Aviation 400s that don't look like this box, but this is, I guess, what they have settled on. Yep, and there's what the back of the box looks like. Delta onward and upward logo with Delta instead of just it straight up and down. And so we will pull in the model. I love Aviation 400. Now some people think the NG mold is better because of some that this they say that this part's not long enough on the Aviation 400, but there's so many cool details. The main one being the 3D beacon lights, and in future releases, now this one doesn't have it, but in future releases there's going to be magnetic gear that you can take out and put in gear up pieces where it looks like it's in flight rather than on the ground. So that is pretty neat in my opinion. Alright, so don't have a lot of time here, so this is going to be a little bit faster of a 360. Matter of fact, looks like I'm going to have to zoom out. Alright. Spent a little bit too much time, I think, talking about the Southwest one. So I am terribly sorry about that. I need to give myself at least 2 minutes here. In the meantime, please, if you're enjoying content on my channel and this video, please leave a like and a comment, and please consider subscribing to my channel. I do it for the pleasure of collecting and for no other reason. So please consider a like and or subscribe, and please leave a comment if you have acquired any of these models. I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love to read your opinion. Alright, so additional information about this before I run out of time. This one's a little convoluted. So delivered to Delta in July of 22. It was originally a Qatar airframe with registration Alpha 7 Alpha Quebec Alpha Quebec Charlie, and it was delivered to Qatar in December of 2019, and then it was returned to LATAM in August of 2020, and with the registration of Papa Romeo X-Ray Tango Lima. This is currently an active aircraft. It's powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Trent XWB engines, and its configuration is 30 business class, 63 premium economy, and 246 regular economy. So that does it for this video. So until the next video, happy collecting.